I was thinking about, when I was working at Time Warner Cable, there was about four of us, and, we kind of sat back in the class, in the back of the class, and, there's one particular guy, he was older than all of us, and, I didn't really say much to the guy. He was a nice guy. I just, there's a guy that was my age, and then there's a guy that's a little bit older. We have more things in common than with the older guy. But it came to the point that after I had got done with my time at Time Warner Cable, that I used to see this guy all the time, in his truck. Now this guy, he has done 20 years already, so he's kind of been there and done that. And, if I would have sat there and took the time to ask him some things, maybe I could have, extended my time there. But, pride, and I let everything else get in the way. But anyway, but this guy here, it was funny because he was the one that I would have thought that I would have had the least amount of contact with. But I used to see him so often, and then, finally, probably like after like the 8th or 9th time, of him just driving by, I used to stick my hand up when I would see him pass by at the bus stop, but, that'd be like as far as, our communication, that was it. But one time he stopped, and, he started to tell me his personal testimony. And I was just kind of blown away, because I didn't expect that from him. But he was telling me, how he was, on cocaine, and, he was just telling me, about certain events in his life that had led him to the point to where he's at now. And the brother's doing pretty good right now. And, he's sitting in a pretty place. And I told him, man, well, I wish I was, where you're at right now. He's about to retire right now. But the brother had been through some stuff. And, that's just as far as, just as how old he is. Experience comes with age. But, he was a good guy. He sat there and after he got done talking to me, we prayed. And, he cried and, tears just coming down his face. And, I could sense like there was some urgency when he was praying for me. And, I just like to thank God, for putting this individual in my life who I, almost shunned, just because, I kind of didn't like some of his mannerisms. But that's what we do, though. So, it's important that, if somebody wants to speak a word to us, I know that we're all busy, but if you have the opportunity to listen to somebody, listen. Because I'm telling you what, you're going to need somebody at some point in your life to listen to, even if you don't know them. Because some people just have to vent. And I've been, sitting down before and, just minding my own business, reading a book or something like that, and then somebody just comes to start talking to me. And, in my mind, I'm like, oh, man, I'm kind of into this book right now. But, the spirit is like, hey, put that down for a second and then see what this person has to say. I mean, you're waiting anyway, so what's the problem? Are you just sitting here, listening to this individual? That was like today, what sat there and happened. I was at the bus stop, and, there's a Hispanic guy. He came up to me. He started talking about, what's the highest knowledge? And, I say, of course, God, and knowing him is the highest knowledge. But then he went into a story, and, he talked about a father, he was the greatest electrical engineer in the world, and how he sat there, he wanted to teach his son how, be just like him, want him to be the best, electrical engineer in the world. So he passed on, this education to his son, but he forgot to pass on the part about God. Which, it was God's strength that helped him to become disciplined, and gave him character to stick out, his college and everything so that he could get his degree. Well, his son went on, he never even got to that point. He started stealing. He started doing things that was immoral because he didn't have no moral knowledge. And so, he didn't have the discipline or he didn't have the will to stick it out. When things got hard, he sat there and he quit. Well, anyway, he stole something, he got caught, and then he went to jail, and he never ended up, fulfilling his dream or his dad's dream. So, the whole moral of the story was that, God's knowledge being a greater knowledge, than the education. At least, if he would have had his character and his discipline, he would have never started jail in the first place. But, that just kind of just fascinated me, because at first, when he started talking to me, I already kind of knew that he was going to witness to me. He had like a Bible and he had some other things in his hands too. But, I was like, well, while I'm here, I'm also go ahead and listen to the man. And you never know what God has to say to you through somebody else. We don't know if there's an angel, that we're sitting there entertaining. Could be an angel in disguise. So, if you have a listening ear, go ahead and listen, because you're going to need somebody that, you're going to want to talk, and you're going to want them to listen. Everybody has something to contribute. Everybody has something that we can sit here and use into our own lives. So, just something that I want to share. I know everybody likes talking. You can tell by all my videos. I like talking, but there's a time to talk. Ecclesiastics, says it clearly. There's a time to do everything, everywhere, and any time. But there's also a time to listen. Take the time to listen. My name is Richard Anderson. Hope you guys got something from that. Bye bye.